ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानात्यमनन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्येष्टारिणे. Okay, so we are discussing 9th chapter, 3rd verse, Bhagavad Gita. This verse is very nice and very deep. By the way, is my voice clear to all of you? Okay. I don't have electricity here because I am in Bajrika Ashram in the farmhouse. So you might be seeing little dark, but that's it. Okay. We don't keep electricity in farmhouse in here, so that's the point. So the verse is Ashradhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapye Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. This is the verse 9.3. And what exactly Krishna is trying to say here? It's difficult to understand what he's trying to say because he is he and we are we. But in the last verse, Krishna glorified bhakti, and he said Raj Vidya Rajguyam Pavitram Yetam Uttamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharmayam Susukham Kartumabhyam. Krishna said devotion. Actually, Krishna gave so many adjectives for devotion, and he said devotion is susukham, it's very happy to perform, it is the king of all knowledge, it's king of all secrets. Pratyakshvagamam, it can give direct perception of soul and Krishna. Dharmayam, it is full of religious principles. Krishna likes to glorify bhakti. That's one very important point. Bhakti is let me say, so what should I use? Bhakti is so potent and so important that even Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wants to glorify bhakti. Everybody glorifies Krishna, but he glorifies bhakti. So even in the battlefield, when Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't forget to. Actually, Krishna feels himself obliged and very fortunate. Krishna feels himself fortunate that he can glorify bhakti. That's what is devotion all about. That's why it is said devotion can conquer Krishna. Srila Prabhupada in one of his lecture, he said, if you do devotion, Krishna will be in your fist. He is in your hands. You can do anything with Krishna if you have devotion. That's the power of devotion. So in the 9.2 he glorifies devotion, and in 9.3 Krishna is now telling people who don't do devotion what happens to them. People who do devotion, 9.2, that's the result. They are happy, they are getting direct perception of soul, and so on and so on. People who don't do devotion, what is their destination? People go to astrologers to ask their destiny, but Krishna is telling, okay, why do you run here and there? We'll tell you what's your destiny. Your destiny is death, mrityu samsara vartmani. One couple, they came to Prabhupada in train. I think Prabhupada was going in India. Prabhupada was in India. He was traveling by train. So one Indian couple, Gujarati couple was there, and they came and they asked Prabhupada, I mean, in India, if you see sadhu, naturally, you want to show your hand. Okay, what's my destiny? See my lines, and so they came to Prabhupada, oh, you're sadhu, what is our future? Please see. Prabhupada said, okay, show your hand. And Prabhupada saw the hand. Prabhupada said, birth and death. Prabhupada said, cycle of birth and death. And they were like, almost pissed off. What is this? So that's what Krishna is saying. It's not Prabhupada always said, oh, actually, there was Prabhupada was in one university, and one student asked Prabhupada. So he didn't say Prabhupada. He said, Swamiji, if so Swamiji, if there are so many people who are not doing devotion, but they're nice people. Prabhupada said, no, they are Muda. They are foolish rascal. And Prabhupada said, I am not saying this, Krishna is saying this. I am simply repeating, I am servant of Krishna. And then he was shouting, that boy was shouting. Prabhupada said, it's not my fault. What can I do? If Krishna is saying, so I have to say that. What can I do? So you see, Krishna is very merciful, but he can also be very hard sometimes. His language is very hard in this verse. Anybody who knows Sanskrit, you will appreciate what kind of words he is using here. I'll show you what kind of words he is using. So like in English, if you say, I don't know, in America, if you use, suppose in America, if you say rascal is not that bad word, isn't it? Nowadays, nobody knows rascal. So what's a bad word in America? What do we say? Bitch. That might be a very bad word. We call females like that. So somebody says, he's very bad people. So, but in Sanskrit, if Krishna is using such words, people don't use this. Krishna is saying in this mrityu samsara vartmani, Krishna is using very hard language here, as if Krishna is not merciful, he's a tyrant. You see, Krishna is a person, first of all, you have to understand that. And a person has all kind of emotions. That is our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. That is why Rupa Goswami begins Nectar of Devotion by calling Krishna as Rasik Shekhar. So generally, by Rasik Shekhar, what Rupa Goswami is saying, he is a person, he is having complex emotions like us. He feels good, he feels bad, he feels happy, he feels sad. God is feeling sad. It is very unique to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. If you tell any Christian or Islamic people, God feels sad, so I don't know what they'll do with you. They might put you in asylum or something. They might even kill you, you know. What the hell? God feels sad? They'll not understand anything. They might think we are mad. It is very reserved to our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, that God has sentiments. Krishna feels mercy in his heart. Krishna also feels hate in his heart sometimes. What do you do with this? God is feeling hate, but he feels, Rupa Goswami gives example of hate in Krishna's heart. Krishna hates those who hate his devotees. That he does. He feels that. And that is why devotion is a complex phenomena. You are dealing with a person. So here Krishna is not feeling happy when he's saying this. He's saying this with disgust. He's saying, people who don't do devotion to me, okay, I'll tell you the result. Listen from me. He's saying, Ashradadhana Purusha. He's saying, Ashradhana Purusha, people who don't have faith in me. People who don't have faith in me. Ashradhana means don't have faith. That's the meaning of Ashradhana. Shraddha means faith. Shraddha means faith, and Ashradhana means no faith. That's how it goes. So Krishna is saying people who don't have Purusha means, Purusha here doesn't mean males only. Purush generally means males, Stri means female, but here Purush means people who want to enjoy this material world. Purush bhav. So even female is a male in Krishna's eyes, because even they want to enjoy, and male is a male, of course. So as far as conditioned souls go, so Krishna is saying people who want to people who don't have faith in me. And who are those people who don't have faith in me? They are those people who want to enjoy this material world. And that's what Prahlad Maharaj says, Parata na satova That's that verse Prahlad Maharaj says, people who grahavratanam, people who want to enjoy this material world, they don't surrender to Krishna. They don't surrender because they want to enjoy. Because why they don't want to surrender? Because for people in this material world, enjoyment means independence. And as Americans, you will understand more. I mean, you're all Indians, but you are staying in America. In America, liberty and independence, that's a big issue. And so Purusha means people who want to become independent. Because only independent people want to enjoy independent of God. So, Ashradhana, people who don't have faith. Why people don't have faith in God? Purusha. Because they want to enjoy this material world, they want to act independently of God. Why they don't want to act independently of God? Because they want to become like God. Why they want to become like God? Because God enjoys, and now they say, why you are enjoying? I also want to enjoy. That's the point. The Ashradhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa. Srila Prabhupada says that that Dharmasyasya Parantapa, that these people they don't follow religious principles. Dharmasya asya Parantapa. They don't like these people who want to enjoy, they don't like the principles of religion. And that's what happens. I see, if you go in this material world and if you tell anybody, okay, you should speak truth and you should be merciful, people will not like. Truth? No. Let's be smart. Let's just, we have to do our work somehow or the other by hook and crook. People don't like religious principles. We have to do austerities. They say, come on, austerities is nonsense. Let's be comfortable. So Dharmasasya Parantapa, Krishna is saying, these people, they don't like religious principles, they don't have faith in me, they want to enjoy, and thus this is the majority of population. Parantapa, he is calling Arjuna as Parantapa. Parantapa means, Srila Prabhupada writes, killer of enemies. Krishna is saying, Arjun, these are three enemies within humans. We also have these three enemies in subtle form. And Krishna is saying, you kill them first. If you don't kill them first, then you will not be able to do devotion to me. So these are the three enemies. In other words, we have three enemies within us. Faithlessness, enjoying tendency, Purusha, and tendency to do sin. We have inclination towards vices and sin. These are the three anarthas in humans which block them to actually surrender to Krishna. So actually in this verse, Krishna is also talking about anarthas. Anarthas means all these things which block us from going towards Krishna, and so we have to conquer them. That's why Krishna calls Arjuna as Parantapa. Arjuna, you are the killer of enemies, and you should understand who is a real enemy. People who are standing in front of you, Duryodhan, Duryodhan and Dronacharya and all Duryodhan's brothers, they are not your real enemies. They are external enemies, but there are some internal enemies which are more important, which has to be conquered. So we have these three enemies. We even as devotees. So if we take this verse in context of devotees, for all of us, I mean to say, this verse Krishna is talking about non-devotees specifically. He is saying non-devotees, they have these three problems in their heart. They don't have faith, they want to act independently and enjoy, and they like to do sin. But for devotees, it's different. Devotees have faith, they don't want to enjoy independently, and they don't like to do sin. We might commit sin sometimes, we might fall into sinful activities, but we don't like. That's why when devotee, sometimes they do those things which they don't which they don't, which they should not do, they feel guilt. Right? We feel guilt because we don't like it. So that's why Krishna says here, I am speaking about non-devotees, but even within devotees we have this problem because we are not perfect. So we have these three problems within us and we have to conquer them somehow or the other before we die. Otherwise we will be again absorbed in the cycle of birth and death. That you have to figure out how to do. Ashwadadhana, we have faith in Krishna, but our faith is weak. Our faith is weak. Why do I say this? Because we feel fear of future. We feel insecurity. What will happen in future? This and that and that and that. That clearly shows that we don't have complete faith in Krishna. Am I right? Because where there is faith, there is no fear. Young children, they have faith on parents, that my parents will solve everything and they'll take care of me. Children are happy, they don't fear. 2 years old child, 3 years old child, have you seen them worrying about future? They don't worry about future. They are playing with toys, that's all. They play with toys, that's all, finish. Parents might be so anxious about the future of their child, but the child is playing. They don't care about anything. Why? Because they have complete faith in their parents. They will look after me, that's all. If you cross a road in India or anywhere, if you cross a road and there's a lot of traffic on the road, you will see left, right, and then you'll cross. But a 2-year-old child, it will not see anything. It will just run towards its parents. It will not see buses coming or whatever. It doesn't see anything because they are focused on their parents. My mama, for a 2-year-old child, my mother will solve all the problems of the earth. Am I right? They think like that. My father is superhero. He will take care of anything. Even if Prime Minister comes, he'll shoot him and whatever. They might think anything. They have complete faith. But our faith is weak. And they have complete faith, that's why they are happy. But as we grow old, we fear about our future because we lose faith on our parents. Why we lose faith? Because we understand that they are also humans and they have also got limitations. Then we understand they are not superhumans as we used to think. So when I was a child, I used to think my mother is the most intelligent woman on the planet Earth. Because I used to ask, what is 2 plus 2? Mother used to tell 4. 3 plus 3, 6. My God, she's so intelligent in mathematics. She's answering like this. So I used to think, but as I grew old, I started understanding she's little dumb. And then when I became more old, I thought she's a foolish. I mean, not foolish. She's my mother, but I had understood she's not that intelligent. As a child, we don't think like that, isn't it? Every child thinks my mother is super mom and my father is super dad. So that's why they're happy. But as we grow old, we get fear because we understand my parents have limitations, they are humans. But we are with Krishna now. Krishna doesn't have any limitations. He is beyond even superhuman. And still if we fear, this means we don't have faith in him. We don't have complete faith. That's why Prabhupada used to say, if you have anxiety about this material world, then you are not on spiritual platform. You are not connected with God. So that's why devotees have absolutely no anxiety. So that's why we can say most of us, we fear about future, we fear about security, we have anxieties and tensions. So our faith is weak, that's why it's all happening. Ashwadadhana, Purusha, we as devotees, practicing devotees, we also have enjoying propensities. We enjoy, we do some things which we should not do. And we also want to enjoy separately from God. We all have this. We all have this. And we have to admit that we have this. We have independent mentality and dharmasya, and we don't like doing sins, but sometimes we don't have control of our mind and we start liking sins, and that's a disaster. That's a disaster. Sometimes we go on an autopilot. Maya takes on a trip and we start liking sins, and there's a problem there. So we also have, that's why Krishna is saying Parantapa. It's Krishna is saying Arjuna, or Krishna is telling us, be courageous. No problem. We have these problems. Get over it. Don't lose courage. Don't lose enthusiasm. These problems were there when we were non-devotees, and we carried all these problems with us when we came in devotion. But now we have to conquer it. Prabhupada said, no? Prabhupada said this. We are carrying all these problems from material world. And now we are in a hospital called as ISKCON, and we have doctors, devotees. They are giving prescriptions, and they are giving medicines, but you have to take the medicine in a prescribed way, and then the treatment works. If you don't take, it might be the best hospital of the world, but you die. That's all. It doesn't matter. So Krishna is warning us politely. Krishna warns. You see, Krishna likes us. That's why he's warning us. Like parents, they warn their children, don't do this, you will suffer, my dear child, out of love and affection for us. He's warning us. But sometimes when you have to warn people, you have to use strong language. So sometimes mother, when she has to warn their children, she has to scold and she has to use really strong language. Sometimes it happens, mother scolds a child so much, then child sometimes says, Mama is bad. Starts saying like that because he gets afraid. He never saw Mama scolding like that and beating sometimes, slapping. So Krishna is like that. Krishna likes us. That's why sometimes he warns us, sometimes he beats us by giving us sorrows. But his only concern is to reform us. Just like the only concern of parents is to make their child a better human. That's what they want, and that's why they are sometimes they're sometimes caring about child. That's why they're loving the child. They're punishing the child. They're scolding the child. But whatever they were doing, they're just thinking about the betterment of the child. Suhridam sarva bhutanam, Krishna says. I always think of welfare of my people, and that's why Krishna is saying now, if you don't listen to me, and if you don't try to overcome these obstacles, then what happens? Aprape mam nivartante, aprape, you will not attain me. Now you might ask, well, if we don't work on these problems in our heart, I mean to say, can't simply chanting Hare Krishna and we can attain Krishna. I mean, so why do we have to listen all these things, and why do we have to really understand our faith is weak, we have enjoying propensity, and we have liking towards sin, and we have to conquer all these things. How to conquer? We have to learn this, and we have to practice. Can't we make it so easy? I mean to say, why Prabhuji you are making it so difficult, and chant Hare Krishna and go back to God, that's all. Without doing anything, can't we simply go back to God? That's my question. Simply chant and do arti, take prasad and go back to God. Can't it be so simple? Krishna says, no, aprape mam, you will not achieve me like that. You don't attain me like that. It is like saying, it is almost like saying, Prabhuji, can't we get energy without eating? So can you get energy without eating? No. If you don't eat, you become weak. is simple mathematics, it's simple common sense, it's not rocket science. If you don't eat, you become weak. If you don't do what Krishna says, and if you don't work hard on yourself, you don't attain Krishna. So the point is, you have to work hard on yourself. That's the point. Don't work hard on people, others. You have to work hard on yourself. You can't take yourself lightly, that's my point. You can't take, we take people lightly, but the advice is don't take yourself lightly. Because we are our worst enemy. We are our own enemy. Remember that. You have to understand that at one point of your life. You might not feel like that. You have to feel like that. It's not just understanding. We don't feel like that we are our own enemy. But we are like that. And the sooner you realize this, the better is for you, the better we advance. And Krishna says this, Atma eva Atmana bandhur, Atma eva ripur Atmana. How many of you feel that you are your own enemy? I'm not saying you know. How many of you feel that way? I don't think so. None of us feel that way. We are our own enemy. We think we are we, and I'm my own enemy. What do you mean, Mahaprabhuji? What, it doesn't make sense. But that is what is sense of Krishna. We are. Let me put it. We are the. So in the words of one saint, he said, we are. Actually, I forgot the exact words. He said, we are nothing. We are nothing. We are not at all important, and we are our worst enemy. That's what one of the saint he said, and he actually repeats the same Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that. So Krishna says, if you think you're your own friend, and then there's a problem. Then aprape mam, you don't attain me. You don't attain me. The point is, before coming to any solution, we have to understand the problem. If you don't understand the problem, then you don't get good solutions. Just like a patient goes to doctor has to diagnose the exact disease, and then you get the medicines. Otherwise, the medicine doesn't work. So Krishna, as a good doctor, he is diagnosing the disease in the first sentence. He's saying, see, my dear brothers and sisters, you have a disease. And you have to admit, you have got to know that you are diseased. And the disease is this. You have got 3 diseases. Okay, let's put it like that. First is Ashadadhana. You don't have proper faith. Second is Purusha. We want to enjoy independently of Krishna. And third is Dharmasyasya. We have liking for sins and irreligion. So these diseases, Krishna says, we have to correct it, otherwise aprape mam, you don't achieve me, nivartante. And if you don't achieve me, now you might ask, okay, if we don't attain Krishna, what's the problem? Life goes on. What's the problem? Life goes on. I'm getting my food, I'm getting my shelter, I'm doing my career. What's the problem? Everything is good. I'm happy. I've got my home, nice home. There's not much problem. But there's a problem there. There's a problem. Krishna says, Nivartante. You will again come back in birth and death. This life you are human, next life you might be animals, next to next life you might be a demon, or next to next life you might be a mosquito. Who knows what we become. And that's a very dangerous situation we are in, but we don't realize it. Why? Because we are very comfortable in our lives. We're sitting comfortably in our lives. We are okay. Everything is nice, Prabhuji. So we ask people, how are you? They say, I'm nice. In America, they how are you? I'm nice. So what they say, I'm okay. Exact what I forgot. Yeah, in America, what they say when you ask, how are you? What they say? You know you're in America. Was that? I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But nothing is good. I'm good. Okay, I'm good. That's the whole point. They think they are good, and that is the problem there. You have to understand, I'm not good, I'm in a problem. And then you go to a doctor, and then you take proper treatment. If you think I'm good, then you don't do anything, because I'm good. So this kind of this is American philosophy. That's how it goes. Anyway, some social custom we say like this, but devotees don't think like this. We don't think like this. I'm not good. I'm in a very perilous, very dangerous situation. I'm not at all good. I'm suffering, and I'm very, very fearful of birth and death. That's what we think. But the problem is, you know what we do? You know what we are? I'll tell you. We are very expert in forgetting Krishna. That's what we are. And we exactly know how to forget Him, and we exactly know how to make situations which will make us forget Krishna. That's what we have been doing lifetimes, isn't it? So we'll make our homes extremely comfortable so that we forget Krishna for eternity. That's what we do. That's what civilization is all about, no? Deluxe, super deluxe room, all comforts, this and that and that, so that you never remember Krishna. You just forget Him because you are there. Our civilization is like that, isn't it? So Krishna says, well, you'll come back in birth and death. That's a result there. If we don't connect to Krishna, it's a very dangerous situation. You have to realize this. If you don't realize this, I don't know, I can't do anything. I can just tell you, but you know what, I'll tell you one thing. I'll ask you one question. If there is a fire in your house, what you will do? What are you going to do? What you're supposed to do? What was that?
We'll get out.
Yeah, I'll get out. You get out, or you will run out. You run. If there's a fire in your house, you will run. You'll not think anything. You'll just run out. That's all. You just run. That's what this material world is all about. We daily sing Samsara Dava Nalali Dhaloka. This material world is on fire, but we sing in a very nice tune so that we forget it's on fire. That's what the problem is. We don't realize what we are singing, but it's on fire. So the only solution is you have to. That's what Prabhupada always says: escape from this material world. Prabhupada doesn't use the word run. Prabhupada uses the word escape. And escape means, if you realize you're in a dangerous situation, you will start weeping. If your house is on fire and you're stuck in your house, you will start screaming and weeping. That's what you will do, isn't it? If you can't run out, start screaming, please help, or no help is coming, you'll start weeping. And if you really understand you're in birth and death, you will start weeping. That is supposed to be like that. I mean, it should happen like that. But now you tell me another question. Suppose if your house is on fire and you're stuck in the fire and you can't run out, nothing is happening, and you are very happy and laughing. So who are you? I mean, what's your mental state? If you're stuck up and you're laughing and you're very happy, I'm good, then what do we say about such people? So what's the diagnosis? Is he a normal person? He's got to be mad. Am I right? got to be mad, some psychiatric problem. And that's what we are. We are laughing, we are happy. If you understand Bhagavad Gita, you can't afford to become happy. You'll not become happy. You'll be fearful, you'll be weeping, you'll be actually crying for Krishna. Krishna, please help me. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam vado. Okay, yeah, you know that verse, no? Shikshashtakam. Oh my Lord, please pick me up from this ocean of birth and death, place me as a lotus dust or lotus feet of you. Like that whole verse is there. Okay, tell me one thing. If your house is on fire and you can't run out, will you sleep? Will you go to sleep? Why? You can go to sleep nicely. Will you eat? Will you make something very nice dishes and offer to Krishna and eat? Will you do like that? Come on, it's a prasadam time, you have to offer and eat. You will not do anything. You will not offer, you will not make, cook, you will not do anything, you will not sleep. Will you do arti? If your house is on fire? Nothing. You just run. That's all. You will not be able to think anything. That's the whole point. So if that's a Prabhupada say, the test of advancement in devotion is your sleeping, eating will reduce. You will not be able to sleep because you know it's such a dangerous situation. What to do? You will be complete anxiety. Your eating will reduce. You will be just focused on one question, how to escape. That's all, nothing else. You will be focused how to get out of this house. Other things are very secondary. That is what Krishna wants from us. Actually, that is the normal response if you understand the right situation. So who are we? Tell me. We are normal or abnormal? Looking at a situation as far as our discussion goes. It seems to me that we are all abnormal people and we are all, I think we are all psychopaths, am I right? I think we are psychopaths because we know everything, we understand everything, and yet we are happy and we are not anxious what to do. This, if you read Bhagavad Gita and if nothing like this is happening to us, then this requires a lot of madness to not get a proper response. It seems, at least I can talk about myself, I can't say about you, but that's the point. Krishna says, aprape, it's a very hard statement, aprape mam nivartante. Which devotee can read this? Aprape mam, Krishna says, he will not attain me. A devotee's heart breaks when he reads this. He will not attain Krishna. My God, what's going to happen then? Without Krishna, we are dead. We will not be able to attain Krishna. Oh, very sad situation. And Nivartante will come back in this material world, sadness and fearful. So both of this, Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. So where do you come back? Mrityu Samsara Vartmani, you come back in the word of death. Mrityu Samsar, mortal word. Prabhupada says the word of death, not the word of life. The word of life is Golok. This is the word of death because everything is dead. Our souls are dead because we don't have devotion. And we are attached to those things which are dead, our body. It's all death all around us. It's all death. That's why this word is called the word of death. Because whatever we attach, because attachment to this material world, even a slight attachment in this material world will take us towards death. Our final destination is death. That's why in scriptures it is said, man is either mud or stool or worms. Prabhupada said, these are the three destinations of a body. Either we'll become mud if we are buried, or sorry, ashes. Either we become ashes if we have burned, or we become mud and worms if we are buried, or we become stool. If a body is thrown, then some vultures eat and then we become stool. That's our destination. Mrityu, that's why this word is called Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Vartmani means again and again. Vartmani means again and again, again and again, again and again we go through this. So, if you want to go through this process, then Prabhupada says it's up to you. But Krishna is saying it might be painful. Remember that. It might not be painful now, but in future lives it might be very painful. Remember that. But there's a way to escape from it. As you see, this verse is depressing. I told you this verse is depressing. Well, what to do? I had to speak on this verse, so I can't help it out. But anyway, you read ahead. Krishna is saying there's a solution. But solution comes when you understand the problem. That's the whole point. Krishna is trying to tell you the problem. He will also tell the solution, but Krishna is trying to tell you the problem, and he is saying, understand the problem, understand the criticality of problem, understand the seriousness of problem, and then I'll tell the solution. And then you can get out of this birth and death. So that's the whole point there. You can go and read this verse. Prabhupada writes a very nice commentary on this. Prabhupada comments on faith in this purport. Read that. Well, I'll just end up here. Any questions?